Hey, I'm the real Reggie. Have I got the outfit or not, eh? This is my kind of rich chocolatey covering.
That's funny. I thought I was the real Reggie.
Reggie, it's everybody's kind of candy bar.
Remember when Halloween candy was just a little weirder? Before today's familiar fun-sized chocolates took over, there was a golden age of groovy and sometimes bizarre treats that have all but disappeared. An era when your plastic pumpkin bucket was filled with a wild mix of taffy, novelty toys, and candy so unique, it's hard to believe it was ever real. Today we're unwrapping the forgotten stories behind some of the strangest and most wonderful sweets to ever grace a trick-or-treat bag. Get ready for a sugar-fueled trip down memory lane as we uncover 7 Halloween candies from the 70s you've probably forgotten. And kicking off our list is a candy bar that was quite literally a marathon to eat. The Marathon Bar. Introduced by Mars in 1973, this was not your average chocolate bar. It was a magnificent 8-inch long braid of chewy caramel completely covered in milk chocolate. Its bright red wrapper even had a ruler on the back, just so you could prove its impressive length to your friends. This was a candy that commanded respect on the school playground.
Milk chocolate, delicious caramel, and chewy. Told you, nobody eats a marathon bar quick.
The experience of eating a marathon bar was unlike anything else. It was incredibly chewy, living up to its name by taking a long time to finish. The marketing was pure 70s gold, featuring a cowboy character named Marathon John, played by Patrick Wayne, son of the legendary John Wayne. Commercials showed Marathon John facing off against villains like Quick Claude, proving that something this good just shouldn't be rushed. So, what happened to this lengthy legend? Well, despite its cult following, the Marathon Bar was discontinued in 1981. For those still chasing that long-lost caramel chocolate high, the UK's Cadbury Curly Wurly is a close spiritual successor, though fans insist nothing can truly replace the original.
Long time. Watch! Milk, chocolate, delicious caramel, and chewy!
Next up, another classic from the Willy Wonka Candy Company, Wacky Wafers. Now created in the 70s, these weren't your average small, chalky candies. Wacky Wafers were huge, about the size of a silver dollar, and came in a clear plastic wrapper that showed off a long strip of colourful discs. They had a satisfying snap when you broke them, and a tart, fruity flavour that was instantly recognisable. The original lineup included flavours like banana, green apple, watermelon, orange, and strawberry. For kids of the era, the banana flavour was particularly memorable. The sheer size of the wafer made it a substantial treat that felt more special than a roll of tiny candies. So what happened? Well, when Nestle bought the Willy Wonka brand in 1988, Wacky Wafers were discontinued, partly because they were considered too similar to another popular candy, Sweethearts. After years of demand from nostalgic fans, Leaf Brands thankfully revived the original, silver dollar-sized wafers in 2017. But even those have since become difficult to find, leaving a generation to dream of that perfect wacky snap. Now, before Reese's Pieces took over the peanut butter candy scene, there was another contender from the whimsical world of Willy Wonka, Oompas. Launched in 1971, these were one of the first products under the new Willy Wonka brand. They were larger than M&Ms, with a colourful candy shell that encased a unique disc of half peanut butter, half milk chocolate. Named after the iconic factory workers from Roald Dahl's book, the candy was an instant hit. They were the perfect movie theatre snack and a prize find in any Halloween bag. For a short time in 1980, a strawberry and chocolate version even appeared. For many kids of the era, Oompas were the original and best peanut butter candy, making the later arrival of Reese's Pieces feel almost like an imitation. Was it candy or was it a toy? With Mr. Bones, you got both. This novelty candy, released by Fleer in 1977, was the absolute peak of Halloween ghoulishness. The candy came packed in a miniature plastic coffin, which was a coveted item all on its own, produced in spooky colours like black, red, green, and even pink. Inside the coffin were small, fruit-flavoured, bone-shaped candy pieces. The taste was often described as being somewhere between a PZ and a sweetheart. Not incredible, but that wasn't really the point. The real fun was that the candy bones were a puzzle, with interlocking parts you could assemble into a complete edible skeleton. A diagram on the underside of the coffin lid even showed you how to connect the skull, ribs, and femurs. The only catch? A single coffin rarely had all the pieces you needed to build a full skeleton, which was a brilliant marketing trick to get you to buy more. After you ate the candy, the plastic coffin became a perfect accessory for your G.I. Joe or Star Wars action figures. Fleer made Mr. Bones into the 1990s before it was finally laid to rest. And while a few knockoffs have appeared, none have captured the macabre, playful magic of the original. In an era of dense, heavy candy bars, one contender dared to be light. Nestlé's Choco-Lite, introduced in 1972, was a truly unique chocolate experience. Its main selling point was its texture. It was a thick bar of milk chocolate that was aerated, filled with tiny air bubbles that made it incredibly light and airy.
Never felt as good as Choco-Lite. New Nestlé's Choco-Lite candy bar, specially whipped up for a new thick chocolate look, a new light and crunchy chocolate feeling. Chocolate never felt as good as Choco-Lite.
This wasn't just a copy of the British Aero bar. What made Choco-Lite special was how its whipped, bubbly texture created a creamy, melt-in-your-mouth sensation that was different from other bars on the shelf. It was billed as a big, thick bite of light, and it quickly became a bestseller. The wrapper itself was iconic, with a groovy, stylized logo and a striking gold foil inner wrapper that made it feel like a premium treat. Despite being a hit through the 70s, Nestlé discontinued Choco-Lite around 1982. The reasons aren't totally clear, but a few years later, Nestlé acquired the company that made the Aero bar, giving them a new flagship for aerated chocolate and sealing Choco-Lite's fate. For those who remember it, Choco-Lite remains a fondly missed taste and texture combo that has never been quite replicated. Now, perhaps no other candy on this list screams the 1970s quite like candy cigarettes. Though they'd been around for decades, they were a totally normal sight in Halloween buckets during this era. These chalky sugar sticks were often packaged in boxes designed to be spoofs of real cigarette brands, with names that mimicked brands like Marlboro or Lucky Strike. Some brands even added a red tip to look like a lit cigarette, or included a powder in the wrapper that would create a puff of smoke when you blew through it. For Halloween, you could often find them in packages featuring the Universal monsters, cementing their place as a spooky season staple. It was a time when the health risks of smoking were known, but the idea of marketing a candy that let kids pretend to smoke hadn't quite become taboo yet. The controversy was always simmering, though. Parents and health officials worried the candies normalized smoking for children. National bans in the US failed to pass in both 1970 and 1991. But by the late 70s and 80s, many manufacturers had already started rebranding their products as candy sticks. While you can still find them today under that more politically correct name, the unapologetic, monster-themed candy cigarettes of the 70s are a thing of the past. Our final treat is a candy bar that was pure 70s swagger, the Reggie Bar. In 1976, baseball superstar Reggie Jackson boasted that if he played in New York, they'd name a candy bar after him. Sure enough, after his historic 1977 World Series performance, the Curtis Candy Company launched the Reggie Bar in 1978. It was a circular patty of caramel and roasted peanuts covered in milk chocolate. The marketing was a cultural phenomenon. At the Yankees' 1978 home opener, the bars were given away for free. And when Jackson hit a home run, thousands of fans celebrated by showering the field with them. It was an iconic moment that cemented the candy's legendary status. One teammate even joked, "When you unwrap a Reggie bar, it tells you how good it is." So what happened to this home run hit? Well, despite selling millions in its first year, the candy's popularity was tied to its namesake. The bar was discontinued in the early 80s, around the time Jackson left the Yankees. While it has had a few brief revivals, most recently in 2023, the original Reggie Bar remains a delicious snapshot of a time when a candy bar could be as famous as the slugger it was named after. And that's our tour through the weird and wonderful world of 70s Halloween candy. It was a time of creative, bizarre, and unforgettable treats that you just don't see anymore. What was your go-to candy from that era? Did we miss one of your favorites? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one and love hearing your memories.